Hey guys, welcome back to the Pressing Matters. I'm Scott. Thank you for tuning in today on this lazy Sunday afternoon. It is raining here, and if you listen, you'll hear the pitter-patter of afternoon rain. This is a regular occurrence in Florida at this time of year. And actually, I don't mind it on a Sunday, and especially a Sunday where I'm listening to a classic like Bluetrain. Let me go back a little bit with Bluetrain. I have the 97 edition that I bought in 97, and it's been in my collection for a while. I listened to it a couple times at the beginning. At that time I wasn't into jazz, but I wanted to dip my toe into it, and I knew that Bluetrain was considered a classic. And I'm the kind of guy that if something is considered a classic, I want to find out why. Whether it be classic films or classic recordings. And I noticed this pervades all my aspects of consuming media or, you know, art. And it can go from, yeah, like I said, films to furniture, classic furniture, like the mid-century modern furniture and stuff. So I'm very drawn to things that have stood the test of time and have been considered classics. So that's why I bought Bluetrain originally. And even though I wasn't into jazz at the time, I wanted to have it. I wanted to start my collection. And like I said, I listened to it a couple times, and it really had been on the shelf for almost a couple decades. Pulled it out every once in a while. Nope, not yet. And it wasn't until, this is like a Brad Miller recording, the original MoFi. If you don't know that reference, Brad Miller, who started MoFi, used to record thunderstorms and train sounds. Those were the first records. Anyway, back to Bluetrain. So where was I? Oh, so in the last 2 years, through the Tone Poets, the Blue Note Classics, I've been dipping my toe deeply into jazz, and Bluetrain has become more relevant for me as I've explored other Coltrane albums. Now, I haven't loved every Coltrane album I've heard, but as I go through them and I listen to them more and more, I assimilate them more and more. I love what I'm hearing. And it brought me back to try Bluetrain, and especially with the announcement of this Tone Poet, these Tone Poets, it increased my appreciation for the album greatly. I've been listening to the stereo in 97 for a few days now in preparation for this. I only purchased the mono, and oh, I wanted to get back to one point. One point I wanted to make is, if you know, someone criticized me not criticized me, but pointed out in a comment, "Hey dude, why are you buying records that you don't like?" And this is the reason, is because I have bought something that's classic, and I want to understand, and though I may not understand it immediately, I want to get into it and I want to understand it. So the fact that I bought Bluetrain when I wasn't really into the album, this is the reason, because eventually I'm going to come around to it. And I know if I buy classics that there's something to discover there. So that's what I wanted to say about that. So yeah, I've been listening to the 97 Bluetrain stereo. It's a good sounding record. I actually had no issues with the sound. Nothing to compare in stereo, but you know, taken on its own, a very good sounding record. It was sort of an audiophile release, I guess. It was pressed on 180 gram vinyl. It was part of a series called the Top 10 series, and I don't think they were all analog. I think they may have been partially digital, but they were mastered by Capitol. It's stamped in the dead wax, and I saw that, I was like, oh. But Ron McMaster did the mastering, and I thought it sounded very good. And a stereo recording, of course. These are early stereo recordings. The panning is a little bit odd, but a pretty natural sounding record, I thought. Then when I decided to get the new bluetrain, I skipped the stereo. Now I may change my mind on that, but I got the mono, and the mono's beautiful. I mean, this is the new mono Tone Poet, and just gorgeous. And it's the mono came across as more lively, more direct, more immediate. It has an urgency in the busier cuts that is very compelling and very addicting, and as a result I preferred it to the stereo. Stereo is interesting to hear details in the space, but there's space on this mono. I mean, there is a soundstage of sorts. It's a smaller one, but you can feel the depth and separation between instruments. It's quite remarkable, actually. The tonality on this record is much better than the 97. That I noticed right away. And the balance between the loudest sounds and the quietest sounds, and the bass and treble. Just a beautiful balanced mastering by Kevin Gray. I don't have SRXs or Music Matters for this title, or AP for also. But if someone is just wanting to pick up an excellent mono edition of this, there's no question that this is the one to get. All other mono editions are too expensive, and this, I imagine, brings you 99% of the way there. Another thing about this one is I put it on after I played the stereo, so I had to switch my mono and stereo switch on my preamp, and I put down the needle on the record, turned up the volume. I said, oh, I must not have switched the input yet. There's no sound. And all of a sudden the sound came. The music started, and I was like, wow, that was quiet. This is a very, very quiet pressing from RTI. Quieter than many a super vinyl clarity, pressing. It's quite astonishing how quiet it is. And it really makes me think, why are we paying all these extraordinary sums of money for expensive reissues? And you know what I'm talking about. When this kind of quality can be achieved for $40. And Tone Poet is really the sweet spot for audiophile reissues. Gorgeous stout and gatefolds, excellent mastering by the best in the business, wonderful pressings from RTI for $40, and it can't be beat. And unwrapping this and seeing this bluetrain, it wasn't supposed to be done as a Tone Poet, makes me kind of sad that all the other Blue Note classics were not done this way. And I hope the success of this will change Joe Harley's mind, maybe, and he'll start slowly releasing stuff from Music Matters in Tone Poet editions. I think it's time, and I understand the reasoning, but I think it's really a shame we aren't getting everything in this kind of quality. But Kevin Gray did a fabulous job on this. Obviously, a lot of care was taken in every aspect of this, and high recommendation for bluetrain. I loved it. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. I'm Scott for the Pressing Matters. Have a great day.